strangely 15 minutes. So we're waiting for a couple of members so we can have a quorum, but it doesn't look like we're there. So we're going to call the meeting to order at 4:45 p.m. Comprehensive Plan Review Committee. I've got Wendy here and myself as the two board members. Breck is the municipal liaison, and Joe Roach, town manager, and Donna, our consultants. We do not have a quorum, so no action can formally be taken, but we'll use this as an informational purpose meeting. No adjustments to the agenda, and we'll pass over review of the minutes right now. We'll go right to allow Donna to speak, and then that way she needs to get going. She can. So why don't you go ahead, Donna? Thank you.
Okay, thanks. I had a very productive week when I was up there, and I had a chance to talk to a lot of people, and I want to fill you in on what some of that was. And where various chapters are at. So I have a vision statement based on the information that we gathered. I have a vision statement that I'm drafting, and I sort of have a first draft, and now that I've seen the results of the Survey Monkey, there's no surprises in there. It's still, I mean, the number one issue across the board is affordable housing. And I have to tell you that I did a little digging in the zoning ordinance, and you've done so much stuff in terms of the densities and allowing the various options. And what I really want to do is have a meeting with everyone involved in construction. So contractors, site workers, designers, real estate folks, trying to figure out if there are ways to jumpstart some construction. What are some barriers? Maybe there's some ways that the town can be involved in something that we don't know about, but that we won't know unless we talk. So I think that, I'd like to do that.
Donna, do you have a list of who you talked to and whatnot, so that way we make sure we don't trip over if you've already reached out initially? Kind of keep a log. We have a few people in the community that always second guess whether we've done our proper due diligence. So I always like to keep track of, yes, Donna's met with bang, 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 bang. We've met with there, just kind of, yeah. I'm not trying to micromanage at all, just if we can get some kind of a summary that said, yeah, last week you were up, you met with the following, just so we have it for the file. I think it's great. Sounds like you got a lot done.
Yeah, I agree, because I still want to know who I need to meet with.
Well, that's the thing. I want to be able to look at that and say, what about so-and-so? What about so-and-so? Right.
Yeah. So I have a vision statement in draft, and I'll get it to you probably sometime in the middle of next week. And what, it's nothing that you're going to take action on. I think it's just, do I have the right categories, and does it sound like it's going in the right direction? And then we'll want to come back and visit that at different times throughout the process and make sure that we're still on track. So it'll be a first draft work in progress. In terms of doing the chapter updates, what I'd like to do is, for the bigger ones, which would be housing, economic development, public services, climate, what I would like to do is have maybe a committee of two who just agrees to read through them and make sure that, so you're using your local knowledge and say, yeah, this is right, or this is not right, or this is missing, or this should come out, and do kind of a, not an edit, but a content edit. At the very end of the process, I'll have someone else who won't be me go through. I have someone who does, the grammar check and the style check and the format check to make sure, she looks at it to make sure that it sounds right. And so I don't need you to do that part unless you want to. But that's, but I will do that. So I don't want you to make a decision tonight, but that's kind of the process that I'm thinking of, is that a smaller group within your group will sort of like take a look at these chapters first, once I give them a first draft.
Are you thinking we're gonna have to rework a lot of stuff? Because based on the survey, it looks like 2-to-1, people feel we're going in the right direction. So it's more of a, are you thinking more of like a nip tuck type of thing versus a overhaul?
Yeah, I mean, the more I look at it, I think we keep the format the same. And the more I look at it and get into the individual chapters, I think that there's really just some updates here and there that need to be done. But that I think, I think the goals are going to be the same. We might have some new ideas. I mean, I'm hoping that there will be some new ideas on affordable housing. Maybe we can do some density bonuses, but that I would hope would come out of a meeting with folks that are involved in that, so that they can say, look, this is what we're up against, and see if we can find solutions. So I did talk with Michelle Landry, and she's going to be doing an update of the historic and archaeological chapter. She looked at it and she said, we don't want to do anything in here. This is not the direction that we're going in. So, now that I said it's going to be a slight change, the historic section might be quite different. Rather than focusing on architectural design,
Can I ask a question? Sorry, Doc.
Yeah.
So Michelle's just one director from one of the museums.
Yeah.
In the historical side, there's several museums in town, and not everybody's all on the same page. Mark, wouldn't you agree with me on that? So I just want to make sure we're not just handing the keys over to one particular group to kind of drive that bus. So I think we maybe want to do a workshop around opening that up to some of the other, because I know some of us are involved with the Forestry Museum, and some are involved with the Reich Museum, and there's and the main sporting heritage is what she's involved with the Historical Society. So I'm thinking might want to be a little more encompassing on that. And I'm not trying to, again, micromanage that. I just think maybe you weren't aware that there's multiple philosophies around that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think that probably there would be some similarities there, in that what the Historical Society is saying, that they're more event-based. They want to, they're trying to keep history alive and doing events that do that, which I think is, so yes, I would love some contact information on who else I should, who's a good person to talk to about logging, who's a good person to talk to at the Reiki Museum, and any other ones that are out there. I've been putting together a list for Joe, which is, the Anglers Association, the various lakes associations that are out there. I'd like to talk to them. The folks at the hatchery, see what's going on over there. So those are, that's part of it. I talked to David Miller at the Land Trust, and he is going to be giving me some information. He's going to be doing some updates on their acquisitions and what they have for changes, because he did notice some changes and also some directions that he thinks things should go in. And I know that there's going to be others, but they seem to be the big ones. So I'm getting some information from him. If you have any other ideas, please let me know. I talked to Nathan Kay at Seven Islands. He gave me one other logger to talk to in Phillips, just to see what's going on in the forestry industry.
You might want to talk with Matt Jacobs, American Forestry. They manage a lot of land up here too.
That's American Forestry?
Yeah, AFM, right, Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah. You want his number?
Sure.
He runs that, and my cousin's husband's involved with that
And he
too.
manages Malone's land.
He manages all of Malone's.
6,000 acres in the town of Rachel.
Oh, great.
Matt's direct cell phone is 491-3754.
491-3754?
Yeah, and then I'll give you,
That's 207, I assume?
yeah. And then, I'm trying to think who else. And then who also works with him is Bill Haslam, same company, if you can't get a hold of, and that's 491-1602. Bill manages all the a lot of small wood lots up in this region too.
Okay.
That's
okay.
his specialty, is like small woodlot owners.
Oh, that's good.
They're
'cause-
both with AFM, so
Okay,
they kind of help all the independents
yeah,
versus Seven Islands in there, so they can
Right.
give you a little bit different perspective.
yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Sure.
AvCog is gonna do the transportation section. That's something that they typically do. They'll have a lot of different transportation data, and, you know, they can pull accident reports and all that kind of stuff from DOT. So they'll be doing that.
Are they pulling the census data too?
Yes. Yes, they will be updating all the charts that have census data or have data that is other than local data. I have talked to Breck about getting some local data just so that we can look at and fire and police to look at, you know, number of calls, what the building permit trends are, stuff like that. We'll put in some local data, but AvCog is going to be doing all of the chart updates. They're also going to do the update of the population and demographics section. The other group I'd really like to talk to are the business owners. And I think that Kate Williamson can help with that, because that group, what I did meet with Kate, and what I told her is that I want to have a meeting with her committee, and maybe the committee meets with the business owners, but they have been having meetings with business owners throughout their process, and I'd like to do that too. And
As well,
see,
Donna, you know,
But the chamber's not it's exclusive. It doesn't.
I know
include
it's
all
pay to play,
business,
but it's a voice that should be, you know, they should
Yes.
be in.
and they don't have-
absolutely.
right now,
No,
so,
but Travis has been stepping in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that would be, so I'd like to talk with construction folks, those involved in construction and real estate, but also everyone else too, all the retailers, all the service providers, you know, just get as many as I can. So I've been trying to think of when a good time to do that is, and what happens in Rangeley. I'm leaving March 10th, and I won't be back until April 4th. And so but April seems to not be a good, I mean, do you think April is a good
Nope.
time?
Everyone's
not.
closed in April.
I'd say
Yeah.
between Mother's Day and Memorial Day would be a good time.
Okay,
after Mother's Day weekend, but before Memorial Day weekend.
Right, and
Like-
not on a weekend.
Yeah, like a Monday,
Right.
like
Yeah.
a Monday or Tuesday night, like the 17th or 18th of May or so. So like the week of the 13th or the week of the 20th.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
And if we do anything at that time, I think we talked about this briefly, Donna. It would be good to have some type of public forum in the village of Wausau.
Yes.
Well, yes, I did spend some time with Larry Koo. And that was very informative. And one thing that we did talk about was the meeting, and I asked him, should I have a meeting just in Aquasic? And he said, absolutely. And then when we tried to find a time, he said, just do it in May. Don't do anything in April, do it in May. So,
You can do it at the firehouse, say we've done it before.
Yeah.
We get the fire
So-
trucks pulled out and we do it right there.
yeah. So I think that, what I'd like to do is have these meetings all set up before I leave so that, we can get it on people's calendars.
To be
Larry-
frank, no one's gonna think about it much until, even if you waited and did it early April, line it up, because people just, in my experience, Rangeley, if it's more than 13 days out, it's not even on the radar, because it's so much
Okay.
is happening.
All right, so then I'll just put that on my calendar to jump into when I get back.
I mean, if you wanna block off and say, let's do one the week of we're gonna do one meeting, I don't know who it's gonna be, whatever group, but the week of the 13th, and I wanna do one the week of the 20th. Then we can at least, as a group here, block off so we're available, and then we can fine tune it when you get back in April.
Right. I mean, my preference would be to do what I did last time, is just come up for a block of days and
Yeah, that works.
just meet with as many people as possible.
Probably do builders and real estate folks earlier than that time span,
Right.
because they're all here, and I would separate them, I would do them in 2 independent blocks.
Mhm.
I would
Yeah.
not do them in the same room.
Right.
Like
Do
you
you
could do, you could do them probably the week before. You could do them probably the week before Mother's Day, because that's not a bad time.
What about early March? What about like that first week of March? Do you think that I could still catch them then, or?
You could probably I could put together a list of who I think would be a good selected group. On the real estate side, I think it's basically a collection of the group from Furbish, Morton Furbish, it would be
Mhm.
Galway, it would
Noise.
be Noise. And there are a couple other new ones in town, so.
Don, they wanna get them all in town to a continuing legal ed 1-hour class for free. They'll all show up. You
I've-
laugh.
They will.
I've
It
used that
works.
before.
Yeah.
I'll work with you on that, Brett.
Okay,
And we'll see if we can pull something together. And it's really something to do. I think it's much better to do in person than to try and do on Zoom, although, I could do it on Zoom. And I met with town staff. And so that was good. When I talked to everyone, I asked them about climate change and to get their response on climate change. In some cases, like I talked with Al at the water department and what they're doing for climate change. Have they looked at, have they looked at their infrastructure? Do they have infrastructure that's subject to flooding? And
We're pretty
so,
good there.
what's that?
So we're pretty good there.
I
I'm
think
the chair of
so.
the water district too, so,
Yeah. I think
No.
so.
yeah,
So-
but yeah, I agree, there's a lot of, long-term planning stuff there, and I know the sewer department's looking at a lot of stuff too.
Yeah, Donna will have to connect with there's a few departments she hasn't connected with yet. We'll do that next time she's up.
Yeah.
Sewer is one of them. She's
Yeah, I mean, maybe
Yeah,
an
but at
early
least
March meeting to get a few of these meetings out of the way. So that is, that's my update. That's where I'm at.
I think we've got good progress there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of hoping that we could, one of those May meetings, one would be just for Aquasic, but we would do another one, another big one. If we did the big one at the end of May, I'd want to do Aquasic at the beginning of May. And so that it doesn't, you never want that perception that you've already written it and you're coming in to ask them what they think just as, to make it look good. And so I don't want that perception out there because I want to know what they have to say. And they would be different types of meetings, but I'm thinking that maybe by the end of May or early June, we'll be ready to go out to the general public with, so here's a draft vision. Here's some ideas that we're thinking about. Not going to give them 140 pages of text because they won't read it. But, give them in the various chapters, these are the things that we're thinking about. And let them tell us what they think. And then have another one. I'm up there in late July. And so I thought it would be good. I'd like to take advantage of that and do another one in late July, just as an opportunity to really pull in as many summer folks as possible, because they do pay a lot of taxes. So, so that's what I'm thinking about.
So is all the census data coming from AvCog 2?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And I'm going to be
This isn't
touching
the
base
greatest
with,
stuff, but
It's 2020 though, right?
yeah.
yeah.
It just, I've never been impressed with what's come out of there.
Oh, you could
Yeah.
run that by, some of the information we can glean from the realtors in town or, new tax records just to augment what they have in
Right.
terms of at least dialogue, saying like,
Yeah.
these are the 2020 numbers, but we've noticed a trend in X direction.
The other thing too is, I think with the affordable housing discussion, it's just, we got this dichotomy of where people like, we need affordable housing, but yet nobody wants trailer parks or nobody wants super high density. So we've got to kind of figure out what's that animal.
Apartment buildings was #1 response in the, in the little word salad thing. I thought that was very surprising.
Yeah, that surprised me.
Really?
No?
So that,
I hear it all.
do you?
I hear it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, the question is, can we get?
But nobody's building them. Is anyone building them?
Not at $400 a square foot, you can't get a return on investment on it.
We've got some solutions we're working on, but
Yeah,
Every build up here is way more expensive than any other, and a lot of it has to do with cement too.
concrete.
Yeah, it's concrete, not cement, that's the
deeper than
part.
that.
Cement's the flour, concrete's the cake.
Yeah,
I'm just teasing. So, all right, well, I think you got some good stuff there, Donna. I'm glad you got some boots on the ground last time, and seems like the response to people has been, they've been positive to you, so that's good. What else can we do for you in the interim?
Well, I think that getting me that contact information, who I should talk to, like I said to someone, who should I talk to? And they said, you should talk to Larry Koob. And I said, all right. So then Joe helped me. Joe got that all set up for me, which was really helpful. And, I think it brought him on board in the process.
Should we start do you want to do like a shared Google sheet and you start listing the topic areas or whatever the pieces are and what contacts you're looking? We can start helping fill that in for you, just like we just did. Right here, we just rattled off a couple names for you to talk to, Matt and Bill and a few others, so we can help get you what you need.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we got a lot of resources amongst our team, so
Yeah, I mean,
it seems
Told
like
you
you
it-
having one-on-one conversations seem to yield a lot, so.
they do, they do. So the various lake associations, I don't know what they are. They would be,
Well, there's Loon Lake has
And
one.
sometimes it's private road associations around a body of water as well.
yeah, right. But you know, and a lot of them, who's monitoring, you know, is somebody monitoring water quality? Is, you know, what are they doing? What are they seeing? You know, that kind of stuff. I mean, I can get plenty of stuff from the DEP and regulators like that, but getting that local stuff really, that's where you really get the good information. So that's what I'm going to be looking at. I'd love to have a contact at the hatchery.
I can take care of that. I'll email that to you.
Yeah, so
Okay.
if you come up with your list, we probably have a lot of those, like John.
I was just
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah.
That'll be quicker probably to do by email.
Yeah,
And the Aquatic Angling Association, you know, as I've been reading through the plan and stuff, I see some of these things. And like you said, contacts at other of the museums.
I can get you all those by email tomorrow or the next
Right.
day.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you, Joe.
I've written those down. I'll connect with you so we can get that rolling.
is there anything
Okay.
else you wanted to cover, Donna?
I don't think so. I've been doing some research on housing options in terms of programs that might be available, which would just be educational, you know, with it's like you have to fit in a small category, but you know, if you fit in that category, that might get you a house that you couldn't have otherwise done. And so, you know, I've been doing stuff like that. But, oh, snowmobile, the Snowmobile Association or Club.
Piece of
That's
cake.
the,
I can connect you. Anybody you want me to connect you with, I can make that happen. I may have to.
okay,
reach Chris and Wendy to get numbers, but.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can quickly facilitate that by email, no problem.
okay, all right. I will, do you want me to give you a list, Joe, or did you get those already?
Well, I didn't write those down, but I will right now. But let's
Okay.
follow up by email.
I have them all written down and I can put them in the minutes, you know.
Thanks, Wendy. Yeah, so, you know, that's I'm still talking to people. I think a lot of those conversations can happen over the phone. Or one-on-one or, you know, a small group, on Zoom. I don't think they have to be a big meeting, but, I would like to have conversations with people about these different topics. So.
I have a question for you, Donna.
Yeah.
Regarding the historical chapter, and there was something else that paired with that. Was it land use?
Archaeology.
Archaeology. You know, the point that was brought up that there's other organizations that might have a different perspective than Michelle's. You know, even just sending them the text from the previous comp plan or the, I don't know how you approached it with the actionable steps that were, you know, relegated to that particular focus. You know, I'm happy to go to these other organizations and do the footwork for you to, you know, disseminate that so that they can weigh in as well.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, let's see. I mean, if there's anything on that list that you'd like to do, then, you can just let me know. Yes, what I did with everyone was I set up appointments, and when I set up the appointment, I attached the appropriate section of the plan for
Okay,
them.
great. Yeah,
So, you know, I can get you all of that. So I don't know, you know, like, you know, I haven't done much in the way of natural resources and fisheries, but like fishery, when you read back and you read through the history, people came to Rangeley to fish.
we did. Mhm.
You know, I mean, that was a big deal. And I think it still is, yeah. So,
Have you read
anyways,
the Harper's Weekly article from 1877?
not recently, no.
The good news is you don't have to take a 6-day train ride now to fish.
It's a pretty good, it's kind of what kicked off the area. It's an interesting read.
Well, I
Yeah.
think social media has changed the sport of fishing as well, because you used to have to go trounce through the wood to find a good spot, and some of them are very exposed now just because of the
Yeah.
way that we communicate.
Mm-hmm. And you know, that opens up something interesting, and
Right.
it is, you know, it's a shift. And so by doing that, I mean, you look at, say, what is it, Steep Bank?
Right,
And if, you know, now Steep Bank is much more common knowledge. I don't know what kind of an erosion problem you have,
mhm.
because it is a steep bank. So, you know, it's always, you know, one thing changes and other things change along with it. So, so that's what those conversations can help uncover. But that's
Well,
what I
maybe
have.
talking to some main guides, talking to the Fly Shop and River's Edge and some of there's lots of local guides here, and they all probably have similar perspectives about especially protection of the native fishery population, and how much pressure it gets in the warmer, because of climate change, the warmer waters that we're seeing in June, July, and August.
That is that's a really good idea. I hadn't thought of the main guides, but yeah,
I know one.
I think you do know one.
No, but if you need to get in touch with some of them, Alex can put together a list, and he knows Brett and Sue at the Fly Shop, and he knows the folks at River's Edge too, and he'd be happy to help you out with that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would really like to talk to him about it and see. I mean, that might be a really good group to get. Well, maybe they wouldn't be around in early March, but
We'll be around in early March, but
It'll
not
be here
after
April
April 1st.
Yeah.
yeah, right. And neither will I. So, yeah, that might be a good group to get together.
Okay.
And talk to them, because fisheries, you know, it kind of falls under the radar. It's, but it's a big deal. It's
Yeah,
sort of like
hunting.
forestry. Forestry is a huge deal.
Mhm.
So, okay, that's great.
And as far as ecotourism goes, like, it's not a forestry product like we traditionally think about, like wood or pulp or things like that, but foraging is now a huge,
Yeah.
draw for tourism in remote areas. It's mushrooming and, all that other kind of stuff.
Right. And it was funny, when I talked to Travis at the Rangeley Inn, he was really interested in dark skies, because he's interested in anything that he can send his, like a reason why people would come to Rangeley
Right,
and give them one more thing to do, you know? I mean, he would always talk about wanting his guests to have a great experience, because then they come back. And so, you know, here you've got an innkeeper who's really interested in dark skies.
Here's a letter from Linda Dexter on that topic.
Okay, so make sure I get that back. And
You can have it.
I'll put it in your packets for the next,
okay,
for your next meeting.
They offered to help draft the language.
that's nice,
That's great.
that was good.
Wendy, I'll send you that, the fisheries section.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll have Alex coordinate, and then you can just set up a time to meet with those people. March would be
Okay.
perfect.
All right, that'd be great.
So Chris, as far as the survey results, this is the first time I printed them. I did it like 5 minutes before the meeting. So
Yeah.
I figured out how to get it in the PDF. There's more information in there that once I figure out how to do it, I'll get that to everybody at the same time by email, including Donna.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just so you know, we had 100 electronic, we had 3 paper copies that are not currently represented in the results. I can figure out how to get those in there. If I can't, I'll represent them separately.
That's like 9%.
It's a pretty good percentage.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with it, and it looks like pretty quality data, so.
There's a lot in the 50 to 74 range, people.
Those are our people.
Yeah.
So it looks like they figured it out. Hopefully I'm curious to know how many people scanned from the water bill.
Oh, I don't know.
Because
that.
that got out to quite a few people that way.
So I would recommend to you that, you know, talk about when you might be able to meet again. Everything else here can wait.
Well, we can't approve the minutes, we don't have a quorum.
Well, I know this is not a meeting, I'm saying.
Yeah, but a
Two of
potential
you are
next
here.
meeting.
What days?
Well, next week's what, vacation week, right?
Yes,
So 26.
that works for me if you can do it at 4. I have the airport commission at 4:30.
The 26th, is that a Monday?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
Or we can look at it Tuesday I got water district.
I also could do it at 5 and 26 after the airport commission. They typically.
We'll only say 5 on the 26th.
They hold race to a half hour pretty typically.
5 PM on the 26th.
Yeah,
Do we say this tentatively, because it can't
Yeah,
be?
you can't vote on this.
Right.
This is just 2 of you that have
And
that
then
day.
Can the other board members weigh in via email or
I
anything?
will send it out and
Okay.
make sure that.
what, schedule the meeting,
Yes,
5 to 6:30.
Technically, the chair, unless the bylaws say differently, the chair can call a meeting.
I'm calling a meeting, 5 to
Well,
6:30
okay.
on the 26th.
all right,
I'm gonna exude executive privilege. There we go.
Unless the bylaws state differently, which I don't know, so.
If they do, I'll beg for forgiveness. It's not the end of the world.
This question.
Yes, Mark?
Is there gonna be a printed version of the questions that were answered at your kickoff meeting as well?
Yeah, we're
These
waiting,
are from the survey, right?
Right,
for the, she's gonna provide us from the meeting.
I think we have that already.
We
I didn't print it and give it to you tonight, what honestly was on my mind when I came in here, but. What I envision happening next is me getting you the remainder of the information from the survey. It's taken a while to figure out how to do that, I haven't done it yet. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, the answers to, the more in-depth answers to questions, people typed in custom answers. I want to make that the public document that will be provided to the board of selectmen at their next meeting. And when it's provided to them, it by default is on the website. It may have its own separate house or link on the website.
Mhm.
Well, let's
I
get both
also-
of those documents.
I
together.
also would intend to include those items that he's asking about now with those in a package out there.
Would you just give the raw data like we had received in our packet, Joe, or would you run it through like an analytics?
It's a good question. I'd have to see what Donna thought about that. I mean,
Because there was Rangeley, and then there was Rangeley, and then there was Rangeley, it's someone spelled it just slightly differently, it
right,
landed as different answers, you know?
yeah. Well, I think I think it's okay to give the board raw data, but if we wanna drill it down some more, we can do that.
Or at least an analysis of trends or,
Right.
or things that need more discussion, like doing a SWOT analysis, one of the strengths was remoteness and one of the threats was remoteness. So that it
Yeah.
requires like
Yeah.
a lot more conversation and you really have to be cerebral about that.
Right, I think it is timely and appropriate to provide the board with the board of selectmen, a snapshot of this information. And then the committee should come back to it and talk about this in more depth, and obviously the board should be kept up to speed. Did that answer, you were asking if there was be a printed copy, there probably.
Well,
There is, I mean, he could get
For
that
me,
right away.
something like this is really helpful, and if they had one that had the answers to the questions that Donna presented at that meeting, and not analyzed, just that, because that analyzing part should be like an open forum thing. People
Right.
can talk about their different not everyone, but there'll be several
Right.
different interpretations of the same information there.
So my intent is to provide all that to the board of selectmen in their packets Friday, and then in turn be on the website.
Fair enough.
And I have all those word clouds and I think it's kind of a fun thing. If I could send them to you, I don't know if it would be, if you want to print them out and just put them in the lobby of the town office, just,
You know, it would be cool, we have behind the wall here, that you can't see it, Don, nobody in the room can either, we have a plan plotter
Oh, yeah.
behind the wall. If I could print that on like a 3x5 sheet, put that in the lobby, that'd be kind of cool, so the
Mhm.
words wouldn't be tiny on a little piece of paper. I don't know, we'd have to figure out if we could do that, I think.
You can, all you have to do is send that off to Staples online and then they can blow it up and they'll mail it back to you overnight.
I think they could do it in the town
There
office.
you go, we have a printer right back there.
Oh,
So
good.
I've printed plans on it,
It's
but I haven't.
easier,
written
so.
anything else. Yeah.
Oh, fun.
That's
That's
why I
great.
wanted that table back out of there, so.
Yeah, get it out of there.
That's
I'll, I'll send it up to you because it's got the question and then it's got the word cloud.
That would be great, and I will attempt to print that on a plan-sized piece of paper.
Yeah.
That's cool, yeah.
It's just kind of fun to look at.
Rebecca's gonna have to remind me that I said that.
Boy, well,
Okay,
So we good?